Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
Welcome back to In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm the internet icon, the pride of the Pilgrims, handsome Jackie Jones, and I'm joined by a man who throws one of the best drop kicks I ever remember, Paul Roma. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm excellent. And looking forward to seeing you at New England Fan Fest and the Hall of Fame, which I understand you're going to be inducted into.
Yeah, I was very surprised, pleased, honored, humbled when I was approached. So, yes, it's going to be a really nice day.
Mm-hmm. That's June 2nd, East Providence, Rhode Island. We have all the links right up on the website, allaccessentertainment.com. During the day, it's a fan fest. At night, it's the Hall of Fame. So you'll be at both parts. You'll sign autographs during the day and during the Hall of Fame at night.
Correct.
Yeah. And so I also saw Hercules will be inducted, so your former tag team partner.
Yes, and I think rightfully so. I thought that was, something special, getting a tag team inducted, power and glory. We rocked the wrestling world when, back in the day, and so I think we'll rock the Hall of Fame world.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying this because you're here. I said this for years on the show. I always thought Power and Glory had the best finisher. It's one of the most underused teams. I mean, I love the tag team, and the finisher was just amazing. The superplex into the big splash.
Well, thanks, man. It was actually a move that we came up with on the way up to TV.
Really?
Yeah. Ray and I were in the car, and he said to me, "How we going to do for a finish?" And I said, "Wow, good question." I said, "Well, how long do we have?" He says, "Like an hour." I said, "Well, let me think of something." And I showed him what I was thinking, with my fingers on the dashboard and kind of showing him, "Here's what you do, this is what I do." And he asked me, "You think we could do it?" And I said, "Yeah." And we went out and did it.
Now, were you friends with Hercules before they put you guys together?
No.
Okay.
Acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just he knew of me, I knew of him, and that was pretty much it. Then we started traveling together, him and I. I was a good guy, he was a bad guy, and that's when I approached Pat Patterson and said, "Hey, listen, what do you think of this?" And they said, "Well, let's talk to Vince." And that was it after that. Power and Glory. That was the beginning.
Yeah. Was Vince McMahon approachable at the time? Like, could you go up and pitch ideas to him easily?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it depends who you are, but yeah, he was good with me, good with Ray, as far as that went. But we didn't waste his time. That's the other thing. I mean, he knew guys that would waste his time. He talked to a lot of people. But again, he'll cut you off if he didn't like what was going on. So.
Mm-hmm. Who are some of the teams that you think that you really had great matches with?
I think the best chemistry we had was with the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. By far.
At that time, what was Shawn Michaels like?
He was I think he was humble. Him and Marty were smart asses, to say the least, but he knew his place.
Were you weren't around like later on when people said like you had like the click days?
Oh yeah, of course I was. I was around when the click was big.
So did he change as a person, or did you still get along with him at that time?
No, I mean everybody has their ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you get along with everybody. You're going to have your rough edges and your rough days with people, but he was the clicks were meaning, the French Connection.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that did special favors for certain people, and if you were part of the French team, the French Canadian team, if you're part of that clique, you got special privileges. If you were part of Hogan's clique, you stood a good chance to get a push. But I think after I left is when I think Shawn started to hang out. I think with Triple H, or I think they started a friendship or bond, and that's how that went. But I don't hold it against them by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they became friends, and friends take care of one another, so it's cool.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Were you part of any type of clique?
No, not by any means.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think if Ray or I was part of a clique, we'd been world champs.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, do you think that held you back at all, not being more political?
Yeah, I mean, I think it held us back, but I think it was more that, Vince didn't come up with Power and Glory. And I think that held us back. He tried. He tried a few different things to, as I would say, hold on one second. As I would say, put the squash on us. But yeah, I don't know. No matter what, no matter what he tried, it just didn't work. Power and Glory was what it was supposed to be, and I don't think anybody could stop it other than us leaving. So,
what did you think of your match with the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, at WrestleMania?
I think it was for what we were able to do. I mean, Ray and I were hurt. I had a blown out elbow, and they said I could lose it if I was to bang it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Ray had he had torn his groin, and he retore it the night before, so it was very difficult for him. And Vince said, "Can you give me a minute? I just need a minute out of you. You guys gotta, you have to at least go out there." And we said, "Yeah." So we did.
You see, as a kid, obviously, I didn't know that. I was really looking forward to the match. It was very quick. And do you think if you guys were both healthy, the match would have been a longer match then?
I think it would have been a longer match. I don't think the end result would have been different.
Sure.
I mean, we were homegrown. They were, for lack of a better word or better way of phrasing it, they were bought. Vince brought them in on his dime. So it was a lot easier to beat us than it was to beat a team that he was, building on. And again, that's another example of, how it didn't matter what you did to us. You just couldn't kill our team.
You mentioned earlier about Pat Patterson and your partner in your wrestling school, Mario Mancini. I've had on several times, and he is not the best things to say about about Pat Patterson. What are your thoughts on him?
Wow, I got a lot of thoughts on him.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Without going into too much detail, he was a nice guy. He was a snake. He was a nice guy. He was a piece of shit. Yeah, so a lot of things.
Does that would that depend, like, who you were, or would it depend, like, were there different times he was a nice guy, different times he was a snake, or was he kind of one way to your face and a different way behind your back?
Well, I mean, behind your back, I couldn't say because
Sure.
obviously I wasn't there.
Right.
He was he was a nice guy. You know, I brought my son around, and he treated, you know, my kid, you know, like family. You know, all the respect in the world for me and my family. At the same time, you know, you wonder why you're not going anywhere, or why things are, or your personality is, your character is going down instead of up or staying, you know, where it should stay. You know, always an excuse. There's always, you know, hey, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. And, yeah, but this is wrong and that is wrong. Yeah, it's okay though, it's okay. So you just never knew. You know, there was nothing that was real. You know, one thing I learned about life was that life in general is a work. It's like wrestling. You know, nothing in wrestling is real. Nothing's as it seems. You have no control over wrestling, you know, over your character, over winning and losing. And that's like life. You can only control so much. And, you know, you don't have control over whether you live or die. There's just, you know, a higher power for that. And again, that's, you know, these are the things, you know, I mean, you know, people, you know, you say different things, different people, and they think you're nuts, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And, you know, these wrestling just, you know, was a vicious, it was a vicious game when I was in it. That's all I could say. It was just flat out vicious. So,
how did the
again,
two,
part of the click, right?
Mm-hmm. I was to say, how did the two companies compare when you went to WCW? Was it the same way?
Not as bad. It was more relaxing in the locker room in WCW. Less tension, less stress. Yeah, you know, and then you got to, like, I don't know, things started to change when, you know, they started bringing in more and more WWF guys. Then Hogan came in and, you know, started to basically run the show. You know, Bischoff was in charge, so to speak. Flair was in charge of Bischoff. But the product was, the storylines weren't great. The product was okay. You know, obviously when you're running the show, you're keeping yourself in the limelight, yourself on top, and I get it, and that's fine. Then Hogan came in, and it was all about Hogan. And then he had to bring his boys in, you know, the clique. And then it was about them, and it was no longer about what was good, what was right for the business, what was right for the storylines. It was about how much money can I take from these people and, you know, get some for my friends, and not worry about tomorrow or down the road, you know, that you're ruining the company and the business isn't going to be there. And that was the problem with a lot of these guys. They weren't there. And I said this to Vince. I said, you know, Vince, when I had to talk with Vince and I left, when I quit, you know, I said to him, I said, you know what your problem is, Vince? Guys like me and Ray and Perfect and the rest of us, we broke our ass for you. You know, we got hurt. We worked injured for you. You know, now your new guys, they get a hangnail and they're out a week. And they don't care about the business. They didn't care about your product. They didn't understand that you worked, whether you were hurt or not, whether you're tired, didn't matter. You know, we went balls to the wall every night. And that's why we had such a great product back then. That's why it's such a shitty product now. They got guys that are writing themselves into the storylines. There are guys that have no idea what a storyline is. You know? And it's the truth. And that's the way it was in WCW. You know? Guys like Hogan don't care about anybody but themselves. Do they bring their boys in? Yeah. So they have somebody to pat them on the ass, to kiss their ass, to say, hey, thanks, buddy. I owe you, man. You're the greatest. To suck up to them. That's all. That's what it's all about. They don't care if the business folds. In a year's time, a couple months' time, they're just bleeding the company for everything they can get, and not doing what's right for the company. And that's just how they are. And that's how I saw it after a few years of even working for Vince. That's what I saw. Most of the guys didn't give a shit. They were the chosen few that really cared. And that's the problem today. They don't have that anymore. That's why their product is so shitty now. That's why their wrestlers are so shitty now. They don't care about a great product. They're just sticking a product out there and they're just trying to make money. That's
it. So when you had your talk with Vince when you left, what did he say? Did he try to talk you out of it? He tried to keep it.
I don't think there was any talking me out of it. I think he knew that. I just, like I said, I left it off as, guys today, they get a hangnail, they're out a week. We broke our ass for you, and, we got nothing in return. And he's, as I can call it, swelling up. He got hot under the collar, and, he started to get up from his seat and basically start screaming about how he took care of me. And I said, took care of me? I said, you didn't take care of me. I said, I almost lost my arm for you in WrestleMania. I said, take care of me? And then I said to him, I said, you better sit the fuck back down before I knock you out. Talk shit like that to me. You didn't do anything for me. What'd you do for me? Everything I had to get from you, I had to fight for. People had to go to bat for me. Mr. Fuji had to go to bat for me. Homegrown. We, Ray and I, Paul and Glory, and it doesn't, listen, the guys that, other than Bret Hart, Jim the Enzo Neidhart, you got Hawk, who is passed. You have, Brett himself, some other tag teams, some other people, Mr. Perfect, so many guys, man. Would come up to us and say, you guys got the greatest tag team. And like, well, thank you. We appreciate that. I don't know why they're not pushing you. And you start to think, they're just starting trouble. They're just giving you a hard time, trying to stir the pot. But it was true. It is what it is. We were.
Awesome.
But if you don't have the guy behind you giving you the push, giving you the wins, you got nothing. When we beat the Hart Foundation in Nassau Coliseum, Hercules and I, for the belts, and they stripped us of them that night because we cheated. Well, fuck, every tag team cheats, man. Of course, that's what it's all about. Ray turned to me, and he goes, we'll never see those belts again. And I said, dude, what are you talking about? We are over. Did you hear that? He goes, yeah, I heard it. He goes, you understand? They just cheered us. We beat the number one team, the Hart Foundation, and they're cheering for us. We are never going to see those belts again. And he was right. That time went by, and we never saw him again. And he was right.
When you started to get cheered like that, did you ever, was there ever any talks to make you guys good guys?
No, never. We were healed from the beginning. That was it.
Yeah. When you did the WrestleMania match with the hurt elbow, do you get any bonus for that? For even going out there, doing, even though it's a minute, but you're going out there hurt.
Yeah, everybody has different contracts, but you get paid for your different shows, and then you got paid a lot more for the big shows. To make the big shows is an honor, and Vince pays you accordingly. So anything is. I was pleased with what he paid me. I have no complaints.
Yeah. What about your previous partner, Jim Powers? Did you guys get along?
In the beginning, we did, and it fell apart. We still talk. I see him, and it's shake hands and give a hug, and I think him and I have a good understanding that things that I've said on shoot videos is the truth and what it is, and he's good with it, and I respect that he's good with it. That he was big enough of a man to walk up to me and say, "Hey man, I heard your podcast, and you're right. I should have listened to you back then, but too late now." So can't turn back time.
Yeah. Just real quick about Ric Flair. I know you obviously didn't like Ric Flair, but so how did you become part of the Horsemen? Whose idea was it?
Well, again, it's I didn't get along. It's hard. Ric Flair and comments that I made, videos that I shot, things that I said. All right, he was not a person that he was very difficult to understand. He was a difficult person for me to get along with. Call it character clash. His character, my character. I have no problems with shaking Rick's hand, being cordial to him if I see him, say hello to him, talk to him. I got no problem with that. And I think that I don't know. I may be putting the cart before the horse. I don't know if he'd have a problem, speaking with me. I don't know. But I said what I said. I meant what I said. I don't take back anything that I said about him. And he can say things about me. And as long as he's willing to stand by it, you got to respect that. I'm willing to stand by what I said. I didn't say anything, that didn't make any sense. You just asked, you just said, I don't get along with Ric Flair. Well, yes and no. I mean, I worked with the guy, so I got along with him then, but he's not one that would invite me over his house for dinner.
Right.
Nor would I ask him to come over for dinner or invite him to my house. Would I bring him to one of my PAPW shows? Sure. It's a business transaction. I'll pay him. He wants to come for the pay. I give it to him. That's it. It's business. But Dusty Rhodes brought me in. So in answer to your question, Dusty Rhodes brought me in. It was, when you talk about, total hush-hush, when I walked into into Atlanta, into the arena, it was, just like people looked at me like, what the hell is he doing here? I mean, this guy is WWF and he's walking into WCW. Nobody knew I was there, just Dusty. And so I went into the locker room. I was looking for him, and they said, "Oh, he's out in the arena." So I walked out the arena, and I said, "Hey, Dust," and he turned around and he goes, "Paul Roma," and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Pretty Paul." He goes, "Come on over here, baby," and we started walking to one another, and he goes, "Pretty Paul Roma." He goes, "You know what? You know something? That's what I'm going to call you. Pretty Paul Roma. That's your name." And that was it. That's how they announced me.
All right.
That's how fast things happen.
Do you feel that you were a good fit for the Horsemen?
I think I was. I think I fit the part as far as my looks, my physique, what people would consider to be an athlete. Rick is a phenomenal showman. He is tremendous with the microphone. Arn is a tremendous wrestler, tactician, if you will. And it was only us three. I mean, they threw Ole in there, but he wasn't working at the time. They just needed, to throw him in to make four. When I came out with that, with my tux on, and I met the other guys on stage, it was, freaky, to say the least. There was, a lot of what the hells. You could just feel that in the audience. There was some booing, there was some cheering, and there were people hitting the floor from passing out. So, it was kind of all the above.
Yeah.
Was I a good fit? I think if Rick was a little more, accepting, he sat down and said, listen, man, this is what we do as Horsemen. Don't wait for me to get out of the ring and say, yeah, Horsemen don't do that, Paul. Okay. And then get out the next night and, yeah, we don't do that either. Yeah, Horsemen don't do that either. Yeah. I wrestled with him and I just sat on his coattails. He's the boss. He's the man. I wrestled against him overseas and, we sat on the canvas because I said, well, call the match, Rick. And he said, no, you call the match. And I said, no, you're the veteran. You call the match. He goes, well, we're going to be here a long time, man, because I ain't going to move. You got to call the match. And I said, well, I'm not going to get off the canvas, Rick, so you better call something. He goes, nope, we're just going to stay here. And the son of a bitch waited me out. It was great. And I finally called the spot, and we ran it. So, you say, get along. I don't know. I don't know when it turned. I don't know what happened. Maybe, separation was good. Not thinking that it was going to happen. We were going to ever come together or whatever the case may be. But, again, I respect the guy. I respect what he did for wrestling, where he took it. I do. The guy's a hell of a performer. He's a hell of a mouthpiece. It doesn't change, or make me take back anything I said about him personally. Mm-hmm. I said something on a personal level. You could call me an asshole. That's on a personal level. Was I an asshole to everybody in their opinion? No. To him? Yeah. He has a right to his opinion. I'm not going to run up to the guy and punch him in the face. He has the right to his opinion. If that's what he believes, that's what he believes. So I leave it be, man. People are always... I put something on Facebook when I heard he had gone down, and then someone said, hey, Rick's getting better. And I said, oh, that's great. So I put something on Facebook and said, glad to hear, you're pulling through this. And then somebody jumped all over me and, basically said, oh, he's not better, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, don't jump on me because of it. I mean, I'm happy the guy's doing better.
Sure, of course.
And you people are just looking for some shit, to stir. And you're only stirring it because you ain't face to face with me. Everybody's bold when they're on the other end of a phone or they're in another state or another country. But they sure the fuck ain't tough or bold when they're standing nose to nose with you.
Uh-huh. Do you get that a lot online, actually? People who are, I think everyone gets that online. I get that online. I'm nobody, but do you get that a lot online? People who do try to start stuff with you?
No, not. No, not. I think when I, do shows
mm-hmm.
and they have call-ins, you're gonna get those people, the couch potatoes, the ones that never wrestled in their life, the ones that can do a better job than you and everybody else that wrestles, even though they've never done it and can't do it. But other than that, no. I get a lot of respect on Facebook or people that I friend. Mm-hmm. And if you look at, I actually have 2 Facebook pages. I have Twitter and what it comes down to is the people that I mostly friend are mostly police, military people for the most part. I try and cut out a lot of other people because they're just, I don't want to say a waste, but kind of like leeches. No, they're kind of like leeches, man. They think they start sending you questions and they don't stop, man. They beat you half to death. Be happy that I answered one of your questions. Now I open up the door and, you think you have the right to ask me, the next 100 questions. It doesn't work that way, So, but almost respect for, our firefighters, police, mostly, definitely our military. So I friend all the military people. Young, old, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Can you let us know about PAPW, your wrestling promotion?
Well, PAPW started about 2 years ago. One of my top prospects. That's my first guy that I started to train at this new school, which is under Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. WWE looked at him and probably a couple weeks ago. And again, things are different now, so I don't know how things work. I have quite a bit of talent in my school. We run charity events probably 9-10 months out of the year for all different charities, whether it's the veterans, autism, fundraiser for teams, for cancer, you name it. We have Riot Camp Rising Sun, which is, most of these are all based on, if they don't get funding, and these kids don't have a place to go, because they can't afford it, and everything is free for them. So it's great. And the guys that do wrestle for me, they get it. It's really nice. They're really good people, very respectful of one another. And again, they're all about the cause, which is a beautiful thing. And, when you do things like that, it comes full circle. Now we've been blessed to go into Mohegan Sun, ran a show in the ballroom. We packed that place. We were Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So that was beautiful. We had, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever, 1,000 hits, people viewing it, which was beautiful. Now we're going back to Mohegan Sun. We're also scheduled to wrestle at Twin Rivers, or Twin River, I should say, Casino in Rhode Island. Yep. Yeah. So we want to run a very clean show. It's probably 1970 vintage, WWF, when there was no swearing, no hand gestures, there's no blood. And that's what we like. So it's very G-rated, very family-oriented, kid-friendly, and that's what we promote. And we've been very fortunate. So great storylines, with the characters that we have. Like I said, really good talent. So any one of my students, I should say my pros, can wrestle for WWF and run circles around these guys. And I'm not taking anything away from, Vince has some good talent, but for the most part, I could walk into my school and, take the first 5, 8 guys out, 10 guys, and they'll run circles around Vince's boys.
And so,
and I shouldn't even say Vince's boys. They're not even his anymore, right?
Right.
I mean, he's not running the show.
Where can you find your wrestling? Paradise Alley Wrestling, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.
So it's Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.com.
And you still doing the school too? So if someone listening would want to try out for your school, is that still possible?
Oh yeah, we have we do what's called, actually my students run Friday night fights where we look for new talent. So if people want to come in and wrestle, they'll schedule them, and then I come down and I watch them work, and if I like what I see, then we bring them into the big show. and that's how that works. So it's, it works out really nice for everybody. I don't like putting people in shows that I don't know. I don't know how they work. I want to see them. I have to protect my guys. And that's what's important to me. They're like my kids, they're family. So I want to see you work. I'm just not going to take your word for it, or you send me a video that you kind of, choreographed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you in action.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to come down, I'm willing to take a look. And if we like what we see, then I book you, on one of our shows or more. And that's just happened to a couple of people recently, which is nice. And our storylines are all built around our guys. So we don't bring in the Rey Mysterios of yesteryear. I brought in Booker T to do an autograph show, but our fan base is based around the people that we have, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that sounds excellent, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, meeting you at New England Fan Fest coming up Saturday, June 2nd, East Providence, Rhode Island.
Well, it's going to be great, man. And again, I'm humbled. I'm honored.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Bruin asking this of me, inducting me, myself, my partner, Ray, my family, my brother, my friend, greatest partner that I ever had, and I've had a few.
Yeah.
SD Jones, Paul Orndorff, they were great guys, still are. I mean, and Ray, probably, I don't think anybody could ever comprehend what we were, how we understood one another. And that's what made us really special. We got it. We understood. We were there for a reason. Ray and I got together and we said, listen, this is what we're going to do. Power and Glory is going to go to, visit kids, cancer hospitals, sick kids. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to stand for. We're going to become so popular, we're going to be a household name. And I said, Ray and I, we were talking. I said, you good with this, man? And he said, yes. He goes, look at all the kids I got. Absolutely, I'm all in. And that was it. That's why, this was bigger. I don't know if you believe in, a greater good, a higher power, but at the end of the day, I do. And that's why we couldn't be stopped. Beat us every night, and we were still popular. We were still a great team, So, did we accomplish everything we wanted to? Probably not. Should we have had a better run? Without a doubt. We should have been on top of the world for umpteen years. But you know what? Again, you got God on one side and the devil on the other. And the devil's the one writing the storylines. Guess what? You're getting written off the card. It's just the way that it is. But it's all good, man. It's all good. And I am, really honored on behalf of Ray and his family, that they would induct him also. So I'm very, very pleased with that. And I hope I have a moment to, when I get up there to, just reminisce a little bit and give the fans, a little piece of Power and Glory and how we worked together and how it was backstage and on the road with Ray. Something that they would never have seen or heard.
Yeah. Real quick, what did you think when Gorilla used to call you guys Herc and Jerk?
I thought it was great.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was great. Gorilla was a great guy. When I first heard it, I walked over to him. I said, Herc and Jerk. I said, it's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, like that? I said, it's fantastic. And even Bobby Heenan.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were the greatest voices that could ever have come together.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
As announcers.
Mm-hmm. That's something that's totally lacking today too. Is the announcing team is nothing like the ones I remember.
No, No, it's, I don't know. I guess it's like any sport. It takes a while to break a record, and it's going to take a while before, two people can gel like those guys were able to gel.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Very good. And so I'm looking forward to meeting you, and you're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you, sir. And June 2nd, correct?
June 2nd, East Providence, Rhode Island. Website's All Access Entertainment. That's 2 X's in there. .com. Website's right on our website, so you can click right on it. And during the day, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., you'll be signing autographs. And then that night, 6 to 10, you'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Beautiful.
By the Fame.
And I'll see you there.
See you there.
All right.
Good night. Thanks, man. Appreciate this. Bye.
Not a problem. Thank you.
This is the rocker Marty Jannetty, and you're listening to IYH Wrestling.com.